Hi everyone, this is Veronica. Today our topic of discussion is here we'll learn about some lessons from Ambedkar. See, recently I made a lecture on Gandhipedia. So Gandhipedia was a part of current affairs, but then we discuss about the Gandhian values also, which can help you in your static papers also. So this is similar. We'll learn like there's not much of the current affair in it, but yes, there is. But our focus will be on the lessons that we have learned from Ambedkar, so it's more of a static path. So, for my videos, queries, and updates, you can connect with me on Instagram and Facebook because I feel together we can make a difference. So, now let me tell you here about the big Christmas sale, flat 70% off, and this is valid till 25th December 2019 on our all pen drive and Android courses. For additional information, you can connect with us, you can call us on these numbers, or you can visit our website. Now see the relevance here. It will be covered in your mains paper 1, social empowerment. At examination level, you should know what is Dalit assertion, that is how the defense for the Dalits was before and now, and the political empowerment of the community also. So the current affair here is that the Ambedkar was remembered on his 63rd death anniversary on December 6, and B.R. Ambedkar was the prime or the chief draftsman of the Indian Constitution. Above all, though he wrote the Constitution, he was a chief architect, but above all, Ambedkar was a valiant fighter for the cause of Dalits. So, Dr. Ambedkar was a social reformer, he was a jurist, he was an economist, author, polyglot orator, a scholar of comparative religions, and thinker. So, talking about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he was born on 14 April 1891 in a place Maho, which is in central province. Now it is Madhya Pradesh. That time before independence, it was central province. And he founded I will write here Bahishkrit Hitkarni Sabha. So the spelling are as such: Bahishkrit Hitkarni Sabha in 1923, and then even he led the Mahad Satyagrah in March 1927 to challenge the regressive customs of the Hindus. And in 1932 he signed Pune Pact. We'll discuss in detail also about the Pune Pact with Mahatma Gandhi. He participated in all the three round table conferences, and in 1936 he was elected as Bombay Legislative Assembly. He was elected to Bombay MLA as an MLA to Bombay Legislative Assembly as a legislator. And in 1947 Dr. Ambedkar accepted Prime Minister Nehru's invitation to become first Minister of Law in the first cabinet of independent India. And on August 29, 1947, he was appointed chairman of the drafting committee for the new constitution. But later he resigned from the cabinet in 1951 over differences on the Hindu Code Bill. And in 1956 he converted to Buddhism. So this is a short life history of Ambedkar, but definitely his values were very much great, and there are a lot of lessons that we can learn from him. So here he was the principal architect, as I told you. Now his strategies to achieve the goal of empowering Dalits shifted with changing context, but the goal always remained the same, that he had to attain equality for them. He was himself a Dalit, so attaining equality with the caste Hindus. Okay, with the caste Hindus in all the spheres of life. So whatever our society is divided today, I'm totally against it, in my personal opinion also. So like the people use the word upper caste, lower caste, there are no such upper caste, so called you can say upper caste and lower caste. So he was always against such system, and he wanted to achieve equality with caste Hindus. So here we'll discuss the work of Dalit empowerment, what work he did for Dalit empowerment. Firstly, separate electorate. See, it was in pursuit of his goal that in early 1930s he advocated a separate electorate for Dalits. So finally his demand was accepted by British Prime Minister. Macdonald was the Prime Minister at that time in his communal award in 1932, which granted Dalits 18% of the total seats in the central legislature and 71 seats in the provincial legislatures to be elected exclusively by Dalits. However, Ambedkar's success was very short lived here because of Mahatma Gandhi's fast on to death against a separate electorate for Dalits, which he saw as British ploy to divide Hindu society. So this idea never came into being, and later Ambedkar gave up his demand in return for an increased number of seats reserved for Dalits but elected by the general Hindu population. However, Ambedkar later he regretted his decision because he soon realized that given the disparity in the number of eligible voters between the caste Hindus and Dalits, it was huge, very huge. And with this disparity in their so he was more worried about the socio-economic status. Very few of the elected Dalits would actually be able to genuinely represent the Dalit interest. So later on he regretted his decision, but however it was done in the Pune Pact. So why I'm telling you here about his works, because from here you can say how concerned he was towards the Dalit empowerment. So talking here about the untouchability, both Gandhiji and Ambedkarji, they did not like the concept of untouchability, totally condemned it, but the terms they used to describe the untouchables demonstrated the wild gulf in their approaches to the issue. For example, Gandhi called them Harijan. Okay, they called them Harijan, means God's children, in order to persuade caste Hindus to stop discriminating against them. But for Ambedkar, this was a very appeasing term, and he used the nomenclature Dalit only. He said, we will use the nomenclature Dalit only because both to describe the reality of the oppression, that yes, this community is being oppressed, and even to galvanize his people to challenge and change the status quo. So he stick with the word Dalit. Okay, so next thing in his life, he allied with the Muslim League, because in the second half of the 1930s, he considered Muslim League as a potential ally. He felt that this undercut Dalit interest in two ways. First, if the Muslim League succeeded, okay, now I'll tell you why. He wanted to be with the Muslim League because he thought that if Muslims and Dalits acted jointly, they would balance the political clout of caste Hindus. But later on, it was totally an illusion for him. He was disillusioned when Muslim League Lahore resolution of March 1940 he saw, because they were demanding a separate Muslim majority state. And then at that time he felt he was disillusioned. Why? Because he said it will harm the Dalit interest in various ways, mostly in the two ways. So these two ways were, if the Muslim League succeeded in gaining Pakistan, it would drastically reduce the Muslim heft in Indian politics and allow caste Hindus a free hand in running the country. And this is even true for today. Like a lot of people are today, we see, are demanding Hindu Rashtra. See, India is a secular country, but there are many who are demanding Hindu Rashtra. See, if it happens ever, then you will see there will be fight among the Hindus, intra-Hindu fight. You will see casteism rising to its heights. So same was the fear at that time also. And secondly, he thought even if the bid for Pakistan failed, the Muslim League's demand for parity in representations with Hindus effectively, it will marginalize all the other groups, especially the Dalits, which were very much oppressed. And even today, see, this oppression, I talked to a lot of my friends in the cities. They said, no, they're not oppressed today. See, we people are living together. But no, city is a very small domain to see towards it. If you want to see the oppression, you should see the scenarios in the rural India where people still do not sit together to eat. There is oppression of different kind also. Even in the good families also, I have seen people discriminating. Maybe they are not discriminating directly as they are not sitting with them, but somewhere marriages still don't happen within intercaste marriage. They still don't happen, and people still discriminate in one or the other way, maybe orally, maybe verbally. Okay, so we cannot deny this reality of discrimination. Maybe it's not an oppression, but discrimination is still there today. So that is why this is how he was, again somewhere he thought that Muslim League will help, but however he was disillusioned. So now coming to the Hindu Code Bull, see, after independence, Ambedkar made his peace with the Congress leadership, believing that they could enhance Dalits' rights from within the power structure. He became law minister and chairman of Constitution Drafting Committee also. But later he resigned from the cabinet in 1951 when his draft of the Hindu Code Bill was stalled in Parliament because conservative Hindu members totally opposed it. So today we see towards the declining cause of Dalits, there are three major problems that still continue to bedevil Dalit activism in our country. First is intra-Dalit differences. So this is, I feel it's a very huge difference. Why? Because intra-Dalit differences based on the subcaste. So what do I mean here? As already the hierarchy is going on. There are Brahmins and there are Kshatriyas. There are, okay. So finally, and in the last there are Shudras. So such kind of hierarchy is there. Now by subcaste I mean, when we look at the Dalit system, Dalit community, they have subcaste. So they also have a hierarchy. So in Dalit, this number one will say, so just I'm trying to make you understand here that we don't want to marry in this number 2. We don't want to sit with number 2. We don't want to sit and eat with number 2. And they themselves will oppress. They are themselves oppressed and discriminated by the other caste Hindus, and then they also discriminate with the other people of their community. Okay, they would do several things. So this I've talked to few people, this is very true. Okay, but that should not be there. They should be united if they want the welfare of the community. That is what Ambedkar also felt, that these subcaste allows forces opposed to Dalit empowerment to divide Dalits and deny them the clout that they can wield in the Indian polity. So this should be stopped. Any kind of discrimination is bad, whether it is within the intra-Dalit community or in the caste Hindus. Second is interpersonal rivalry among Dalit politicians leads to same result. So there are very few people who rise towards the political power, but then those leaders, Dalit leaders, have interpersonal rivalry. So if they are just working for them individually, then they cannot help to empower the community. And third, the inability of the Dalit leadership to stick with their non-Dalit allies, especially in times of political adversity, makes them appear as unreliable political partners. Right? So these are some latest lessons that we should learn from the Ambedkar, that the unity is important, empowerment is important, working for community is important. So how I want to conclude this, that although Ambedkar ji, he died as a frustrated man, Ambedkar's devotion to the cause of Dalit empowerment has continued to galvanize Dalits until today. So Dalit awakening is represented in many student activism on university campus, as well as you can see the emergence of Dalit based parties also. And the most important lesson to learn from Ambedkar's repeated exhortations is that unless they remain united, this is very important, the Dalits will deny their due share of political power. See, now don't start the comments in the section talking about here fighting for the reservation. Say reservation is altogether a different topic. People talk about end the reservation, but why I see nobody talking about end the casteism? If you'll end the casteism, reservation will end automatically. So if you want to end the casteism, end the discrimination. So once the discrimination is ended, you will see there is a casteless society. Anyway, although definitely we need some reforms in the reservation system that exists today, because it was a different kind of system and today we see a different kind of system. Reforms are definitely needed, but definitely we should not talk about ending the reservation first, but we should stand against the discrimination. We should stand against the casteism. Okay, if you want to clear any exam, you should have a very positive outlook towards the society rather than debating in a very bad manner for such things. I see a lot of comments sometimes and they're very heartbreaking to see that people who are preparing for the exam, youth of India, they're totally towards something else. Anyway, this was today's lecture. If you have any queries, you can connect with me on social media. Thank you.